Hi, welcome to SBR Sports Picks. I'm Peter Loshak. Today is Tuesday, June 7th. We are talking right now with SBR contributor Ian Cameron. We're taking a look at the opening lines in Major League Baseball for the games of tomorrow, Wednesday, June 8th. Ian Cameron, the Cubs started this year with a ton of high expectations, a ton of hype surrounding them, and they paid off. They're one of the top 5 teams in baseball in terms of ROI. If you bet them game in and game out, maybe some people would call you a square, but you'd be up money for sure. A lot of games like what we're seeing tomorrow, right? They're at Philly as a big road favorite. I'm thinking maybe they have value anyway. They opened at about minus 180. John Lackey is starting for the Cubs, and he's just been really, really reliable. He's just good game in and game out for 6 or 7 innings, 0-1 or 2-1, just a quality start, a high-level quality start like that every time out. And then Velasquez is starting for Philly. He's a rookie with good stuff, good promise, but he's wearing down, as we often see with rookies, after they've been starting for a couple of months in the major leagues. And it just looks like a typical Chicago Cubs game and line for the first 2 months where the Cubs have actually had value. I'm wondering if the Cubs might still, once again, have some value at minus 180 tomorrow in an early game at Philly.
Yeah, this was a theme of mine, Peter, earlier talking about this Phillies rotation, how there's some promise with some of these guys, like an Aaron Nola, like a Vince Velasquez in this rotation. That being said, they're young. They're not used to a long Major League Baseball season. And as a result, you're going to have instances where you just get concerned that as the innings start to mount for all of these guys, does their arm get shot in the process? Maybe we're already starting to see Vince Velasquez hit a little bit of a wall for this Philadelphia Phillies rotation. Last time out against Milwaukee, 2 runs on 4 hits. He only lasted 4.1 innings, and that's a pattern of his lately. I mean, you go back his last 4 starts, Miami, Detroit, the Cubs, and Milwaukee, he's lasted no more than 5 innings in any of those starts. The pitch counts have really been built up. The hits have gone up. The walks have gone up, which is a bit of a concern. So I definitely have some warning signs that would concern me about Vince Velasquez. And on the flip side, as you mentioned about John Lackey, he just has continued to be a pretty reliable source of just pitching for the Chicago Cubs team. His track record against the Phillies has been pretty good. In fact, in his last 6 starts against the Phillies, he's allowed 3 runs or less in all 6 of those outings. So this is a lineup that he has matched up pretty well with John Lackey in the past. So, yeah, I mean, it's not great value to me with the Cubs. Velasquez does have good home numbers. That would be the one thing on his side here. But again, I'm seeing a lot of laboring, struggling to get through innings lately from Velasquez. So that would be my concern here. Not a game I got involved with, but I do have concerns with Velasquez moving forward.
All right, then the next game I want to ask about is the Angels at the Yankees. Now, before this line came out, I was hoping for a pretty modest line for the Yankees, and I was ready to jump on them. Came out a little bit high, though. It's from minus 160 through minus 170 market wide. Jared Weaver is starting for the Angels. We know that, he's very vulnerable. He's been giving up a lot of home runs recently. He hasn't been completely burned by, his lack of stuff yet, but he's been semi-burned or 3/4 burned, and it feels like, he's due to get fully burned at any moment. And then Eovaldi has not been, been pretty inconsistent. Often, though, he is good for a good, solid 6-inning start where he gives up no runs or 1 run. And if he does that, of course, the Yankees bullpen can easily shut down whatever lineup they're facing for 3 innings after that and get an easy win for the Yankees. So I'm thinking that the Yankees might be the side here. It's a little bit, disconcerting that the line is this high, but I think I might take them anyway right now. Pinnacle minus 162. What's your take on the Yankees with Eovaldi against Weaver?
Well, I've just absolutely destroyed this Yankees lineup in the past for lack of production. But if they don't produce here, there's something wrong because Jared Weaver, a guy that has just struggled on the road this year, 5.22 ERA, and a guy that, has been a little bit better as of late, but his road numbers, there's been a distinct home-road split, home-road dichotomy with Jared Weaver, not just this year, but in past seasons where he's really been roughed up on the road, been serviceable at Angel Stadium, actually, but on the road, it's definitely been a struggle for him. That has really stayed true to form so far in 2016, a 5.22 ERA, 18 runs on 38 hits and 29 road innings this year. 6 home runs allowed as well on the road. And you talk about ballparks that are just an absolute nightmare for certain pitchers. Well, Yankee Stadium is that ballpark for Jared Weaver. He's had an absolute nightmarish time pitching here in the Bronx. 4 starts here in this ballpark for Weaver since 2009. 5 runs, 9 runs, 7 runs allowed in those 4 starts for Weaver here at Yankee Stadium. Not good at all. I mean, the Yankees have just treated him. He's gone through the torture chamber, really, early pitching here at Yankee Stadium. So again, the Yankees lineup, it is a concern. They should match up a little bit better here. The right-handed side, a guy that struggled in this ballpark like Weaver has in the past. This should be, in theory, a game where the Yankees lineup can get going and put some runs on the board. And on the flip side, I've talked about Nathan Eovaldi pitching better as of late. Labored a little bit last time against Baltimore, but let's give Baltimore credit in that outing. They're hitting the ball pretty well and have been hitting the ball well for the last week or so. But prior to that, Eovaldi had been really dominant. 3 runs or less allowed in 5 of his last 6 starts. His numbers here at Yankee Stadium, not too bad. 3.9 ERA, 6 walks to 28 strikeouts. Yankees are 4-1 in Eovaldi's 5 starts at home this year. So yeah, only way I could play this game from a side perspective is the Yankees. It's just a question of value with them sitting out there at -170.
All right. Yeah, I think I might take them anyway, despite the high line there. And then the third game I want to ask you about, Washington at the White Sox. And the White Sox, of course, acquired James Shields, and he is slated to make his first start for them tomorrow against Scherzer on the other side. And the line opened up with Washington about -145 or 150 market wide. And if you want the White Sox, you can get anywhere from +130 to +135. And we've discussed Scherzer, an excellent elite starter, no question, but we're kind of like always in the back of our minds expecting him to have a bad start, to sort of like decline a little bit, to be a little bit overvalued. And, Shields is not necessarily any great shakes here, but I think considering the line, the White Sox might have some value. I think I would put this line more at around +115, +120. I think at +135, which you can get right now at Heritage, I would take a shot with the White Sox. What do you think?
Well, 7-5 is Washington's record with Max Scherzer on the mound this season, and that's not bad. But what's the issue with that? It's you're not having a hard time making money with Scherzer start in, start out when he's just 7-5 in his starts. Because look at these prices that he's laying on a regular basis: -160s. I see a lot of -170s, -180s, -190s. There's been a few sprinkled in there where he's been around -115, -120, but you're hard-pressed to make money backing Scherzer start in and start out, because for the majority of starts, he's still being priced like an elite level, top of the major leagues starting pitcher. He's still very good, but he's not at that elite level, at least not this year. And really going back to the second half of last year, I mean, we've seen some walk issues with him at times. We've seen the home run be a little bit of a problem for him in the past. He's still notching the strikeouts. He's still very capable of getting big strikeout games and getting swings and misses, but his stuff's a little bit more hittable now than it was, say, early last year when he was really in probably the best form he has been in since being with the Washington Nationals. So I just don't see value. I don't see Scherzer as a value pitcher right now for me from a betting perspective. Now, on the flip side, do you trust James Shields, his first start with the Chicago White Sox after that trade with the San Diego Padres? Because now we are talking about a guy now that's been off for a full week. So his routine, his rhythm's been thrown off a little bit. Hasn't pitched since last Wednesday when he got absolutely annihilated, really, by the Seattle Mariners in his final start with the San Diego Padres. So let's see how he bounces back here. I went back and looked. When I see a pitcher that's off 6 days or more, I want to know specifically if they've pitched in this kind of situation, how have they performed? And what I've noticed with Shields is that when he pitches on short rest, 3 days or less in between starts, he struggles. When he pitches on 6 days rest or more, he also struggles. His ERA, 3 days rest, 5.25. His ERA, 6 days or more rest, above 4. His ERA in other situations below 4. So he does have some concerns. There have been times and some evidence that Shields may not respond all that well with all this extended rest that he's had due to the trade backing up his latest start. So I'm going to sit back and watch how Shields pitches in this start, Peter. I'm not going to rush to the betting window with a wager on this game, but very interested to see how Shields performs in his first start with the White Sox here.
All right, fair enough. Well, I think one way or another, 2 out of those 3 teams will win tomorrow. The Cubs, the Yankees, and the White Sox. We got a bunch of other interesting handicapping situations, though. What else would you like to discuss with us today, Ian?
How about the Mets and Pirates? And I want to mention this because Jameson Taillon is worth talking about. He's going to be making his Pittsburgh Pirates debut, called up to make this start Wednesday against Noah Syndergaard, alias Thor, and the New York Mets. How about a guy that's really battled his ass off to get where he is to this point? He's missed the last 2 years with Tommy John surgery, then with hernia surgery. Number 2 overall pick in the 2010 draft behind Bryce Harper, of all people, of the Washington Nationals, and a guy that is just now finally going to get his first crack at the major league level, and he's earned it. I mean, if you look at what he's done in AAA Indianapolis with this Pirates team down in AAA, 1.93 FIP, fielding independent pitching, that is the best statistic of all AAA pitchers in that FIP category. 10.2 strikeout to walk ratio, 0.81 whip, 0.9 walks per 9 innings down there in AAA. You can't possibly ask for better, stronger, and more dominant pitching numbers out of AAA than what Jameson Taillon has had here for the Pittsburgh Pirates prior to this call-up. So I'm fascinated to see how he pitches. And let's not forget, the Mets have been dealing with a banged-up lineup, couple key guys that are dealing with injuries that have really dealt a blow to this Mets lineup. On the flip side, though, Pirates have also dealt with some lineup issues. Noah Syndergaard, to me, remains the best pitcher this season in this Mets rotation. This, to me, looks like an under game all the way. If Taillon can at least come close to being transforming that AAA pitching performance into the major leagues here in his first start against the Mets, we could see a hard time seeing runs in this game, that's for sure. Initial lean under the total, and really happy to see Jameson Taillon, through injuries, through just so much issues that he's had to deal with in the past, finally get this chance to make the major leagues and get his first start with the Pirates here against the Mets. Fascinating to see how he does here on Wednesday.
Yeah, for sure. Let me ask you a quick question about him, though. This is obviously his first major league start, and we saw another highly touted phenom, much younger guy, 19 years old, Julio Urias, struggle in his first 2 starts in the majors. He's starting tonight. I have a feeling he's going to have a much better start in his third start, and that line has gotten bet way up. Do you expect the same kind of struggles from Taillon, or is there no way to really tell, or no way to make an educated guess on that?
I'm gonna say he's gonna pitch well here.
Yeah.
I mean, he's gonna be at PNC Park. He's gonna be in a situation here where it's his home ballpark. He's at least had some a good ability to know what to expect, and it is a pitcher-friendly park more often than not, Pittsburgh. So I think he's got the chance to settle in. And again, it doesn't hurt that the New York Mets lineup, it's been a little bit spotty.
Right.
They're also battling injuries. A chance here for Taillon to have a good start. If I had to pick good or bad start from Taillon here in this spot, I'm going to say good. I think he goes out and throws a good game here for the Pirates here.
I would completely agree with you on that assessment, Ian Cameron. I just wanted to get your thoughts on it. That's what I'm thinking as well. Ian Cameron, awesome call as always. Thanks so much. Talk to you again tomorrow.